that. Wonderful. A lot of females, a lot of youngsters. They've all had a drink, but now they look like they were going to move away. I'm not sure. I'm hoping they don't. I hope they stay around and relax. I wonder if that other vehicle didn't cause them to move away. I actually think they did. Look at that. Just off to the right, you'll see there's a female with a baby following it. Oh, this is really, really wonderful. Oh, this is great. My favorites. Seeing elephants coming down to the water. No, it looks like the one female is trying to lead the rest of them away. Unfortunately. Here we go. There's at least 30 odd elephant here that I can see, ranging in size and age. So wonderful to see a herd so close together. Oh, look at that. Look at them playing. I've actually just stopped quite far back, purely because I didn't want to disturb them, and we've got such a nice view of them here with the dam.
Looks like this one went in the water. Or
yeah, that one looks very wet, Seb, you're right. See, that one possibly went much deeper into the water, or splashed itself quite a bit. Grishi, I'm not sure if this is the largest herd of elephant, and I've seen many more elephant than this. I've seen up to 80 elephant together, at least 80 in certain areas. I just think, but this is definitely the largest herd I've seen on Safari Live. I mean, we've seen other herds close to this, I suppose, but I think because they're all congregated around here together out in the open, we could really see it. There's over 40 elephant here, I would say. I just don't understand some people sometimes. Well, we had a lovely view of them. Nice sighting. Sorry, there's a spider web here. TYU, sorry, I'm just covered in spider webs at the moment. You asked why do some of them have holes in their ears, and the only reason for that is the elephant ears are actually very, very thin. So it's easy for them to pierce their ears, and that happens from branches that they might walk past and get caught on. So it's quite easy for them to tear their ears. So you do see elephants on a regular basis with holes in their ears. Maybe they get caught on something, but it does happen quite regularly. So a few other vehicles trying to get a bit closer to them now. I mean, it's difficult, I think, with them moving away like that, to move through a thicket following them. You're probably going to make a little bit of a noise. It depends how they're feeling, how they're reacting. They seem quite relaxed, but we're not going to go follow them. We had a lovely view of them now from here, and again, just sensitivity. There are 2 or 3 other vehicles that want to see them now, so I'm not going to put more pressure on them and have another vehicle moving around them. We had a lovely view. Nice to see them drinking. They were relaxed, finished drinking, and off they go. Wasn't that really great? That was awesome. I enjoyed that. I always enjoy the elephant. Oh yes, and we're practicing ad breaks at the moment. Well, I can hear them trumpeting there, so I wonder if those vehicles haven't caused them to trumpet a little bit. Like I said, it's quite thick there. I wouldn't like to just go and follow them, but you see how quickly they moved off. Eric, you asked what elephant were like in the dinosaur days. Well, they were big. They were much bigger than this, I think. The mastodons and the woolly mammoths, those were well, I think the mastodon was more dinosaur days, I think. Anyway, but they were big. That's all I know. So we are going to be heading again, practicing our ad breaks. So I've got to be very professional now and just say that we had a wonderful elephant sighting. But stay tuned with us, and we'll see what else we can find after this ad break. We'll see you soon. Okay, great. So ad break is done. So that was just practice for the television shows, as you all know. So hopefully I passed that. Kirsten, was that a pass or fail? Too soon to say, maybe. I don't know. I failed. We're going to go to Taylor. Let's see how she's doing.
We are finally, firstly, we made it safely to Djuma Dam, in case any of you are worried about us. And isn't it just absolutely beautiful, with the sun just behind some clouds, bringing out some really beautiful light. Now, you won't believe it, our friend the grey heron that we were chatting about earlier was here for a whole of about 30 seconds, and then he flew away, and now we can't see him again because he's gone all the way around the corner, literally right into that corner, and it's impossible to get a view. He was chased by some fork-tailed drongos as he was just sort of beautifully soaring through the sky, and I don't think he enjoyed that very much, so he must have dived into some denser vegetation just to try and get away from them. But there's not even a hippopotamus here. The only thing that's really left, well, are the weaver nests that are overhanging on the water. And Craig and I were discussing, and Craig had actually said to me, would the terrapins eat the chicks that would have fallen out of the weaver's nest? Because unfortunately, as much as we don't want to hear it, the truth is that a lot of the weaver chicks don't make it to adulthood. You know, it is a risk building a nest over the water like this. It's great because you are protected from some sorts of predators, leopards, snakes, that type of thing. However, it's very, very risky when you need to fledge, and I think that that's one of the hardest parts. So I said to Craig, yes, of course, a terrapin, I think, would snatch up an opportunity to munch on some chicks, because they eat insects and things as well. I don't think that they would say no to that. So would a water monitor, and most certainly, if there were any catfish in this water, the catfish would eat them too. But these nests are all dormant now. There's nothing really left inside of them, other than maybe a couple of insects using them as homes. But you can see they're all died now. The grass is no longer green, which they used to weave their nests. But beautiful. Now they just look like old Christmas decorations. How cool is that? So I think we're going to start making our way away from Cheetah Plains and start heading home and perhaps go on the search for Tingana. James, however, has got something that can jump really high.
Well, yes, it does. It's more of a flyer than a jumper, this one. This, of course, is a grasshopper, and I know that you're tired of just hearing me say this is a grasshopper. Well, so happens that is not going to happen this time round. This is called, it's got a wonderful name, Gastrymargus. Isn't that a nice name? Gastrymargus. If you're feeling hungry, or if you weren't feeling hungry, I bet you are now. Gastrymargus makes one think of a delicious cooking show, perhaps. Most of which I can't stand. But Gastrymargus is here, and I think what this particular example of Gastrymargus, I'm going to say Gastrymargus many times because I like saying it, and this Gastrymargus is, I think, probably laying her eggs. And what they do, they have one generation every year. So they overwinter as eggs. This particular Gastrymargus, I'm afraid, will be 6 feet up in the air, or, well, probably just a few inches under the ground or in the belly of some other animal during the course of the winter. But her eggs will remain in the soil, and come next summer, they will hatch. And so no Gastrymargus ever sees the winter time. Now that's all very well if you happen to fly away during the summer, but not very great if you die during the winter time. Gil, you're wondering what animals out here hibernate. Gil, very, very few animals hibernate out here. That is because it does not get cold enough. It gets dry enough for them to go into a state of what we call estivation. And estivation is the sort of same torpid state that animals go into when they go into hibernation, but it's caused by dryness, not by cold. And so as soon as the water comes along, you'll find that things like one or two frogs, a few insects and that sort of thing will pop out during the winter time even. And even the grasses will do that sort of thing. They don't go completely dormant. And you will also find that things like snakes on warm winter's day, although they estivate, will come out into, of course, come out onto termite mounds and sun themselves, and in fact so will some of the tortoises and terrapins. I think you'll find that tortoises and terrapins, they go into estivation, of course, for the longest periods, because they definitely cannot survive without the water. Now, we're about to go back into fake TV, everybody, and you know how tense I get when we go into these things. So I'm just take a deep breath. Gastrimagus. And here we go. 10 seconds. Here we go. All right, Fergus, are you ready? On me, Fergus. On me. Welcome back, everybody, to the autumn of southern Africa. My name is James Hendry, and you are on a live safari in what I believe is one of the world's most magnificent wilderness areas. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. It's all completely live and interactive. You've seen Byron with some elephants. Taylor's been talking about ostriches for some reason. And, I've been in a tree. And that's basically the introduction done. Good. And now let us head straight back across to Byron, who is not going to redo the TV thing, but he is going to show a bird that likes to eat piskins.
Yes, James, fish things. The fish eagle enjoys fish fingers. A beautiful African fish eagle in the sunlight. Just at Chitwa Dam. Now those elephant have moved off, but there's a lot going on here, and we thought we'd see the fish eagle, which we fortunately have seen. It's up in the tree, and then there's some hippo not far from us. They're now on the other side of the dam, on the eastern side. They're normally on the western side. On the eastern side at the moment, around all this algae. Some Egyptian geese around here looking for food. Now that baby hippo was around here. Just trying to see if it pops up. Now Jade, it's a good question. Just change my position a little bit here. Now Jade, you wanted to know, well, you said, we don't intervene, but what harm would come from us adding water during a drought? Now, Jade, it's a bit of a grey area, or not really, but what happens is, because these game reserves were set up so many years ago, the game reserves within parts of Africa did prevent certain movements of animals, and especially in South Africa. Now, this is a natural system. However, there are parts of the game reserves where they pump borehole water to specific water points during the winter when it does get dry. And that has been a conservation method for many years, or for many years in this whole Greater Kruger area. So before the section of the Greater Kruger was open to the Kruger, there were water holes around. So there have been water holes that have been set up, and people pump water to those, usually by solar water pumps, so they're obviously less harmful on the environment, and they pump water to those water holes to provide water for animals. So there's always water around. So Jade, that does happen in the winter months, but it's select water holes. It's not all of them. So there are still general movements of the animals, but many years ago, over 100 years ago, the certain animals, for example the elephant and possibly buffalo, and that they would migrate kind of a migration, but they would move from here just towards the Drakensberg mountain range, which is directly west of where we are. Now that section of the mountain range would still get a bit of rainfall, and it would stay green during the winter months and still have water in the rivers right up against the mountains. So they would move there, and then from there during the summer they would then come back when the rains hit this area. They'd move back. So those elephant corridors used to be set up. However, over a few hundred years, 120 years, with people setting up obviously small villages and homes and towns, those elephant were unable to move through there. Now, the fences, the perimeter fences also around the Greater Kruger, prevent the animals from moving out of the game reserves, but also prevent people from moving in. Now, those perimeters have just been set up to keep everybody safe and the animals safe, but most of the animals nowadays will never see those fences because they don't need to move around. They don't need to migrate because there is water and there's generally enough food, and during the winter months too, even during that very harsh drought, there was still food for the animals, but those that died from natural causes, not enough food. And that's also nature's way of ironing out the weak so that only the strongest survive. It's natural selection, so that does happen. So I hope that explains the situation a little bit better in terms of the interference. It's not really interference, because we don't interfere with the animals themselves. If they are sick or hurt or injured, we have to just allow nature to take its course. But in terms of providing water, yes, the water is provided in certain areas, certain water holes. So it's a bit of a balance, but man has to do that because man interfered years ago by setting up game reserves all over the world. Every game reserve that has been set up, man has interfered to do that. So we do have to manage it. And that is our responsibility, to help manage an area, but not interfere as such. So it's a tricky topic, and you can have this conversation and debate for hours, really. But that is the South African Parks Board's take on it, is management as opposed to interference. So we provide water, but we don't interfere with the animals if they get sick or injured or die of drought or anything like that, because that's natural selection. Okay. Very peaceful here around the dam at the moment. Daycare, the crocodile and the hippo do actually live peacefully together. And I think what it is a bit of a mutual respect, really, because they live in the same habitat. The crocodile and the hippo, they tend to give each other their space. If anything, a crocodile can cause some serious... if anything, a hippo can cause serious damage to a crocodile. They've got huge mouths and very big sharp teeth, so if they had to bite down on a crocodile, they could probably kill it. But the crocodile tend to stay out of the way of the hippo, and the hippo is that little baby hippo. Look at that, there it is, getting quite big already. And then the hippo, as I mentioned, they stay generally out of the way of the crocodiles. Vonnie, all the way from Australia. How are you, Vonnie? Now, you asked what is the gestation period of the hippo, and if I'm not mistaken, it's about 9 or 10 months, I think. Let me just double check here. I think it's 9 or 10 months. It's about 250 days. Ladies in the final control, what is that? 250 days. So, yeah, about 9 months. Roughly. 8.5, 9 months. Somewhere around there. Is that right? Ladies in the final control, check my maths. Oh, wait, everybody. The elephant are back. Some of the elephant are back. They've just a small little group have come down to drink. So, Vonnie, yeah, hippo generally gestation period is about 8 8 to 9 months. That's about the gestation period of a hippo. Now this elephant came down, drank quickly and disappeared again. I wonder if they were part of the original group that came down or a different group. Shall we move a bit closer to them? I think they're going to move off into that thicket though. Let's just try to get a little closer look. Maybe they stick around for us. Thank you very much, Hippo. We've seen a lot of hippo today, from mating hippo to young hippo. Alright, now I'll try to get closer to his elephant. Taylor's got a beautiful bird she'd like to show you.
I do, but before I even tell you what it is, I'd like to know from all of you. We're playing the silhouette game this afternoon, and I'd like to know what bird is sitting up on the tree. Hashtag Safari Live with your answers on Twitter. It's an easy one, but I just want to check that all of you are still awake and watching. And I think it's quite good to keep testing yourselves as we go along. It's nice to play these little games, whether it's with tracks or whether it's with the silhouettes of birds, because as you start to do the specialist qualifications, with the qualifications that we do, one of the things, and particularly with birding, is you go from being able to identify birds by their calls and of course by the way they fly, but you also get obscured pictures of them, and sometimes they will give you silhouetted figures of birds. So there's some things of this bird that are sort of quite obvious. You may have noticed as it's sitting up there, it's got a relatively broad beak with a very sharp hook on the end. So that should give you an idea as to what they feed on. Also, it's got little bristles just coming off of the side of its face. As you can see, I'm not going to tell you too much about them just yet, but there's only a few of those birds that we see around here that have them. And then if you look at the tip of its tail, you can see it's got something hanging off of the tail too. Oh, Milo, Karen, and Nat.Geo, you've all got it correct. Well done. Yes, this is indeed a lilac-breasted roller. That's very, very well done from all of you. And you can see now that we have brightened the picture, the colors, the beautiful turquoise, the purples, and of course that very, very white supercilium, that sort of white eyebrow streak that they have above their eyes. So very well done. So it's good to keep testing yourselves, and I hope you jotted down a couple of those things. When you look at birds, don't just, of course, look at their beautiful colors, because sometimes you can't always see them. Look for specific identifying features. So, like I said, it's quite easy then with the beak, with a broad beak with a hook on the end. And that, of course, is an insect eater, and a very, very good insect eater nonetheless. So well done to all of you. We'll try and do a few more of those quizzes and try and do some tricky ones. I think it's good to keep testing your knowledge. You don't necessarily... That was perfect timing. It's actually just flown off. Sometimes it's nice not to get things always right so you can learn a little bit more. James seems to be having loads of fun in the tent. He's at it again with his microscope.
I have been brought a present by Rebecca. And if we look under the microscope, look at this. Wait. It is moving of its own accord. Ugh. Ugh. I am touching it, but then it starts to wriggle to get away from me. What do you think it is, everybody? Oh, now it's moved completely out of frame. There it is. Right, I will show you what it is, but isn't this just beautiful colours? Lovely yellows and blacks and whites. Right. It is the tail of a lizard. And this lizard dropped its tail. Obviously it was attacked by something. Whether the lizard got away or not is unclear. But Rebecca found this thing squealing. Well, not squealing. It wasn't shouting, was it, Rebecca? No. It was just sort of thrashing about on the ground. She came rushing here and thought it would look quite nice under the microscope, which indeed it did. And I just want to look at one more thing as I hold it. I want to see if we can see the vertebrae that have been released from it. Well, not released, that have come off it. Now, it's not alive, obviously, everybody, so fear not. Ugh. That's a little bit like my injury. I can't see the bone, but you can see the blood vessels, that went in there, and well, you can see where the bone went. So that sort of bit, you can see it flicking, and you see it moving like that. So there we have an astonishing view of the inside of a recently discarded lizard's tail, which I think is quite disgusting. Good. Thank you, Rebecca. Do you want it back?
No, thank you.
You don't? Okay, fair enough. Rebecca doesn't want it back. Then I was doing some flower investigations outside the tent, and I found what I think is the cat's tail, or Hermstida odorata. Hermstida odorata. This is a word I cannot pronounce, so I'm going to show it to you. Here it is. Hermstida odorata. Maybe the B's just silent. Hermstida odorata. I think that's what it is, the cat's tail. If it isn't, it's very similar. Judy H., you can tell me what you think. And we'll look quickly at it under the microscope, and then we will look at the berg that came along with it. Look at this beautiful flower. Oh, sorry, everybody. There we are. Oh, for goodness sakes, Henry. You stop making such a foul mess of this. I'm sorry, Kirsten. I apologise, all viewers. I really am having a throbbing nightmare. That's called a throbber, that is. Alright, let's try again. Oh, it's so pretty. No, man. I'm going to lose my temper very shortly. Okay, sorry, everybody. Luckily, this isn't television. Okay, now I've let it go. Now we change the focus. That's it. No, now it started leaping around. This is a disaster. Hang on. I do apologise. Ah. Yes. I'm sure. There we are. There it is. That is Hermstida odorata, variation Ornithiaca, maybe, or version thereof. And I think that's quite pretty. But on top of the original plant is a berg, and I have yet to identify which berg it is, so I'll show it to you. There is the berg in question, and it is possibly one of the shield bergs, and therefore likely to make a nasty stink. So let's see what he looks like under the microscope. I'll try and do a better job than I did with the flower. Kirsten says she hopes. Kirsten, we all hope for things, we don't always get them. There we are. I've got it. I've got it, Kirsten. Thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful camouflage colours, dull brown. We're not looking at it under this in this detail, and this is just spectacular. Look at his little eyes. I think that's very special. Now, what I'm going to try and do, just hold on 1 second, everybody. This is going to look a little odd. Yes, I know. I wouldn't do this on television, I promise, Kirsten. I just want to change the exposure because he's a bit dark. Okay. Menu. Ah! See, I did that while we were live. While I held it steady. I think I'm very clever. Now, let's have a look at his foot and see how it is holding on to his second foot there. You can see the little claws holding on to the petals, which I think is very clever of him. Let's have a look at his eyes, and I don't think that's a nose, but you can see those little red dots there. His very special little set of antennae, and then just underneath him, of course, this gorgeous flower. And I'm pretty sure that he's a vegetarian, and that he's looking for some kind of delicious nectar of some sort here. He's just spectacular, this detail. I mean, when I saw him, I didn't think he'd have anything like the markings. And if you were to read about a kudu, for example, the white markings on a kudu, well, then there would be all sorts of newfangled theories about why they had white marks. I wonder if anybody's decided why it is that this little bug has got 2 white markings on either side of his wings. Isn't that special? I think that's very cool. So that is the bug. I don't know what kind of bug it is. I'll make some form of attempt to identify it when we next go off air. Machine gun, you say hold it steady. Machine gun, if I wasn't in a sort of the public domain, I'd be tempted to tell you to come and try, but not in so kind words. It's not very easy. Look how still it is. See? I mean, these hands could perform open heart surgery, I think. There we are. See? It just happens that there's a little bit of movement there because, well, my heart has to keep beating.
My heart's still beating. I'm really steady.
Yeah. We have a question. I will tell you what Fergus said now. Then I'm going to hand him the microscope. We had a question there about whether he was dead, and Kirsten was careful to tell me that it wasn't. The Di wasn't asking if I was dead, but if the bug was dead. No, the bug is not dead. The bug is moving, and that is contributing to the difficulties I'm having. Of course, I didn't think I was having difficulties until Machine Gun told me I was. Okay, right. And Fergus said, well, he's hand-holding the camera and his heart's beating and it's rock steady. No, it's not. It's moving, see? Right, good. Okay, so let's put him back now. And I'll try and identify him. Thank you, Machine Gun. You know, it's always a good idea to have people like you in the world because you knock people like me down a peg or two, and that's always important. Otherwise, we get a little bit above ourselves. Now, Cedar Point, you're wondering what my favourite sound in the bush is. I can tell you what it isn't at the moment. My least favourite sound at the moment is the girls in camp singing the Spice Girls, which they do every night these days. I don't know why this has come about. It is a phenomenon that I feel is more tragic even than climate change. I find it deeply offensive to my person, and in fact I'm going quite mad as a result of it. That is my least favourite sound in the bush. My favourite sound in the bush really depends on the time of the day. Obviously, I love cicadas, and in fact, I've picked my favourite animals, certainly not the mammals, but my favourite non-mammals based entirely on the sounds they make. So I really like the white-browed scrub robin. I love the sound of cicadas. I enjoy the sounds of the rain locusts. What else do I like? The sound of crickets just make me very happy as well. So I like all sorts of sounds out here, but normally it's I pick the animals that I like the most based on the sounds that they make. It has something to do. Ooh, Ronald's in trouble.
Oh.
Disco Ronald. Okay, good. All right, so we're going to link now to Baby Spice, aka Emma Bunton. Yes, she is working for us, and she's currently driving Rusty.
Tell you what you want, what I really, really want. No. I don't actually know the words to the song since I was 6 years old. But James, I'm so sad you don't love the Spice Girls. Don't you just love it when all the girls in camp get together and we sing and try to serenade you? James then slams the door in our faces and he first opens it, he shouts at us, tells us to stop making such a noise, and then slams his door very dramatically when we have dance parties and sing-alongs in camp, which seem to happen quite often these days. And Spice Girls, Atomic Kitten, and many others are actual regular songs that we sing. But how beautiful is this beautiful Waterbuck? Isn't he marvelous? There we go, for my drive, my M word. And he is a beautiful big brute, I suppose you could call him. Look at his horns. He is looking good. And I've not seen a Waterbuck stand still for quite some time. Every time, How was that good timing? Actually, I have a challenge for all of you. Did you see that little bird? It looked like a pipit of some sort that sort of flew up and in between the horns of that waterbuck. Craig was framing it so nicely. So maybe you can go back and try and get a screenshot of the bird in the middle of the waterbuck's horns. Hashtag Safari Live. Let's see who can get the best one, just for a little challenge and a bit of fun this afternoon. But normally, the waterbuck keep running around, running away. But I suppose that's because of the fact that we've been seeing females with their youngsters. Oh my gosh, can I please take you back to look at the skyline, because I've just realized how beautiful the clouds really are, and it's one of my favorite things to see is, of course, well, to cloud watch and then to watch the sun go down. And I don't know if we're going to see the sun go down very well this evening, just because there is a thick layer of clouds along the horizon. Isn't that just beautiful? With all those lovely rays, all those crepuscular rays. That's incredible. We are so spoiled to be able to do this every single day. And it is quiet too. There is not a sound barring one turtle dove calling in the very, very far distance. So we're back on Djuma now. And what I'd like to do is, it's cooled down. Craig and I both put our jackets on to keep nice and warm. It's just got a little bit nippy. We're going to go straight up Cheetah cut line, and we're going to go along Quarry Pad. Byron, I think, is still on Chitwa, so we're ahead of him. And I think when Byron comes back this way, hopefully the two of us will be able to move into the area where Tingana was last seen, when we had him disappear into the drainage line. And maybe we get him sort of coming out of the drainage line and to start his territorial patrol. So that's what I'm really hoping for. I think it will be a good way to end this afternoon's sunset safari. Let's see what else we've got along here. And I'm sad, Craig, aren't you a bit sad we didn't get to see elephants? A little bit. I think he's a bit more sad, Craig, that we didn't get to see a snake, maybe a bit later. But we're going to go across to Byron now, who's got a different view of the skyline.
I do indeed, Taylor. A beautiful view of the sky. And we had those elephant move off, unfortunately. They're not here anymore. But just look at those beautiful colors that we can see there. I think even if we go a bit closer, you might get to see those sun rays shining through there. But beautiful, beautiful sky. Now we've definitely seen some beautiful, beautiful sunrises and sunsets here on Safari Live. And this is one of them. Just all these clouds dotted around. Very, very pretty. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move away from Chitwa Dam, and I'll tell you why. Is because I want to go past that area where Tingana was earlier today, just to see if we are lucky and he sticks his head out. I'm not sure if he's going to, but let's just go drive around there, take a chance and see what happens. Who knows? Who knows what we find? Let's see. We've had a lovely time at Chitwa, a lot of hippo, but now from our sunset, Taylor's got one also pretty view of the sky. Let's go have a look.
We're on the move though, Byron. We're trying to find the most perfect spot, so I'm reversing as fast as the car can reverse. Craig's holding on for dear life. I'm trying to not fall out of the car. The bush is starting to thin out now because the sun has just poked. No, that's not... Is that alright, Craig? That's not good enough. Are you happy with that? Or should we go back a bit further? Okay, we will try it here. We can always reposition. But it's going to disappear very quickly again as there is another wall of clouds. So just a very, very quick glimpse of that hot ball of fire. It's the most gorgeous. It's like a magenta, really, this evening. It is stunning. Isn't that amazing? You know what that reminds me of? I don't know why. It reminds me of a transformer eye. Don't you think, Craig? Well, no, now it doesn't remind me of a transformer eye. That looks like a blood moon all of a sudden when you do that. That's very, very pretty. But I don't know why. That just looks to me like the eye of a transformer. Why? I'm not sure. I have the most bizarre thoughts, and sometimes I think to myself I should keep them inner thoughts and not always tell people. But, oh well. But it is lovely. Isn't it absolutely stunning? Well, as we sit here, the birds have now decided to wake up and they're doing their final call for the day. It is lovely with the knobthorn trees. Oh, and there's even a beautiful silhouetted hornbill just up to the right at the top of that dead knobthorn, which is lovely too. We're having a great day with silhouettes, aren't we? We are slowly ticking off of all the birds, and we've got a yellow-billed hornbill there. That is lovely too. Having a preen. Probably one last time before it settles down and goes to sleep. Not giving a call, though, like the turtle does. But a beautiful big male yellow-billed hornbill nonetheless. Isn't he gorgeous? They're always so gentle, birds, when they groom themselves. Now, cedar plains, you're wondering what is my favorite sound of the bush. Kirst, what was... Oh... Cedar Point? I apologize for that. What was James's favourite sound of the bush? Kirst? Do we know? Oh, yes, the Spice Girls. My favourite sound of the bush? I think it has to be hyenas calling, hippos at night, maybe even a beautiful big lion roar. I don't know. It's a really tough one, and an African fish eagle call. I don't know if I have a particular favourite one. I'm going to go with the whooping of a hyena. I think that's quite special, especially when they do it right next to your car. That's quite amazing. Byron, you absolute beaut. You've managed to find my favourite animal. It seems as though you've spent most of the afternoon with them. Let's go back to the elephants.
I have indeed some more elephant, and I think this is just a portion of that herd that we saw earlier. Excuse me, I think I swallowed something. Now they've just moved off. They're moving off away from Chitwa towards Djuma. So we'll see where they go. We'll follow them a bit and see which direction they go. Hopefully get a view of the rest of them. Always just so nice to spend time with the elephant and watch them wandering around. See those feet. Look at that. That's awesome. Deb, most definitely elephant herds do meet up, and they do. Oh wow, sorry, I just saw something, but the elephant herds do definitely meet up, and they will mix and match now and then during the summer months, the winter months. Just have a look at that sunset quickly through there, Seb. Can you see that? Now I'm not sure, is that what Taylor managed to show you? I'm sure, but it's like a fireball in the sky at the moment. It's bright red. That is so beautiful. So Deb, as I was saying, you will get different herds congregating in certain areas and meeting up and spending time together, especially in the winter when there's not as much food or water around. So yes, it does happen, and you will see herds increasing in size when they meet up with other herds. Some rutting impala, you might be able to hear them. Beautiful, beautiful fire in the sky. That's lovely. Now let's see where these elephant have gone. Some of them moving off. Don't think they're too far. Can hear them. There's one or two just up ahead. Let's see if we can find them. Sorry, there's just a vehicle over there, and I don't want to drive now while those elephants are close to them. I didn't know they were around the corner, so just give them a chance for those elephants to move past slowly, and then we'll try and reposition. Again, just sensitivity. They're quite close to the elephants. Elephants are choosing to move past them, so I don't want to create any pressure by driving right up behind them, and therefore the elephants will stay relaxed and they can enjoy walking past. Let's head back to James, who's again up in the tree, I believe.
One's not quite like the other trees, though. This is the sort of end of the day sunset tree. It's more sort of it's like a really not very trying at all, and it's just very pretty with the sky behind us turning a gorgeous pink colour with just flashes of, what would we describe that as? I suppose a slightly orange honey just touching the tips of those cumulus clouds as they float gently off towards the east. Well, in here, or just below, a vast tree, and most of it is made up of this stuff, which is called Groovier Fluorescence. And Groovier Fluorescence is also known as the sandpaper raisin, and it's got a very nice fruit. And I'm surprised. I mean, I don't think they're edible now. I think they're ripe. No, they're not ripe at all. But they seem to be one of these things at the end. So a little bit like, I guess, don't many of the European berries ripen at the very end of summer, going into the winter? Because, of course, we are actually pretty much in winter at the moment. And so this is one. And I remember we were asked a question about, do we get winter berries here? Well, here is a winter berry growing on Groovier Fluorescence. There's a flower down there. There's a little yellow flower peeping up over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not going to fall out of the tree, especially not this one. There it is. Can you see the flower? That's the little flower, which of course this. Now, we're going to go away for a short break. Byron is of course, and hopefully he will stay with them. I am hoping that as the darkness fades, or comes up actually, we'll start to hear the alarm calls of various antelope and other species as Hosana the leopard comes wandering. So don't go anywhere. With any luck, when you come back, we'll have a nocturnal. And that's the end of my advert break. Thank you for bearing with me there. Let us go across to Byron, who is still with his elephants.
I am indeed, and a big female has just joined. She's come wandering through. And there they go. They're going on to Djuma, so we'll follow them a bit. Some fresh elephant dung in the road now. Ah, look at that. I think we'll have a nice view of all of them out in the open, hopefully. There they go, straight down the road. Let's go a bit closer. Strawhead, yes, the elephants do indeed have little nails on their toes. On the tips of the toes, the front of the toes, they do have little nails. You can often see it if they've stood in wet in mud or water and they've washed it clean a little bit and they come out, you can see the nails quite clearly. So they do indeed. Now, these elephant, a lot of young elephant. There's this big female, but a lot of young elephant in this little group, just a small group. Now, I think this group was possibly part of that herd that we saw earlier, but I think they've split away from them. And just moving through into another part of the reserve. This is a small group. Looks like 2 big females and the 4 younger ones. So not a big group at all. Some waterbuck in the distance there in the background. There they go. Well, we've actually seen a lot this afternoon. It's been great. A lot of different animals. Antelope, the rutting males. We saw the impala, the rutting male impala. We saw the crocodile. We saw the hippo. That monitor lizard was definitely a highlight for me because to see him just walking down the road in the middle of the day, that was very unusual. Alright, all the way from Texas. Hello, alright. That's actually one place I would like to visit one day, is Texas. I've heard everything's bigger and better in Texas, so I've got to go there at some point. Now, you asked how many times do elephants defecate in a day, do I think? I don't know. 32 times. I actually have no idea. I really don't. I think following a herd. I don't know. James knows the answer to that. All right. I'm sorry. I don't know the answer. I don't know. I really don't. I would hazard a guess at maybe 15 to 20 times a day. And the reason why I think it's that often is because their digestive system works fairly quickly, but is also not very efficient. So a lot of the food moves through them. So I would guess somewhere around there, but I don't know. Maybe James has got an answer for us a bit later, if he is still in the tent. You should stay in the tent until the close of the show. You see, everyone, and that's what I don't know, because James trained me. So if James doesn't know, then I don't know. But the thing is, on that note, we do learn every day. We're constantly learning out here, and especially on Safari Live. And thank you again to all the viewers who often send in little clips and information. I must be honest, it really is wonderful to read, and we appreciate it very, very much. Because some things we either forgotten, or you don't speak about it often. You may have heard about it 10 years ago. So it's nice to just refresh and hopefully remember most of the stuff that we learn out here, but we're constantly learning. Nobody knows everything in the bush, especially in the bush, because it's changing and there's so much to learn. But I mean, even myself and James, we've been doing it for a long time. James obviously a lot longer than I have, but we do still constantly learn. Now we're heading back into that area where Tingana was this morning, just to see if he pops out perhaps. But while I do that, Taylor's bumbling around, and let's see where she is and if she's lost.
Ha 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 ha, Byron. I'm not lost. I've already beaten you to the area where Tingana was last seen, so I look forward to your assistance, really. So I haven't seen anything just yet. I did see a nice big mud wallow, which had quite a bit of water in, which I checked to see if he'd perhaps come through and had a drink. He hasn't. So whether he's still just in the drainage line just to the left of us, I'm not sure. So I think we'll carry on along here, then we'll go up towards Buffels Hook Dam, check Buffels Hook Dam, and then come back down and then just sort of go all the way along Inyala Road south. And hopefully by that time Byron will also be in the area and we will intercept Tingana. That's what I'm hoping for. I think he would have laid down shortly after we lost him this morning. I don't think he would have continued. It was getting quite warm and it was a particularly hot day. And he seems to enjoy sleeping in the drainage lines. They are the coolest spot to, of course, sleep in, nice and shaded. The sand is nice and cool, of course, out of the sun. So I think that's what he would have done. And it's this time of the day that we know. Oh, I found something else that's got spots. It's not a leopard though, but I'm sure you'll enjoy this. Hello, giraffes. How are you guys? There's actually two of them, which is really cool. I have not seen a giraffe in such a long time. There's also a Cokie Franklin calling in the distance. How cool is that? Just moving through the very tall grass. Now, we'll try and get a better view of them. Should I reverse for you, Craig? Let's try and get a different position. I only spotted them out of the corner of my eye as I was looking back to camera, so I think it may take a little bit of maneuvering on our part. Don't run away, giraffe. That's rude. We haven't seen any animals today. We need to see you. So I'm just going to go back a little bit here, and then I think we'll get a good view. It's okay, girl. Relax, relax, relax. You'll be fine, I promise you. We're not lying. We just want to look at you. I think it's this time of the day that can become a little bit on the jumpy side. There she is. Actually, I don't think we'll push her anymore. We'll just stop just like this and we'll watch them. And when they disappear, we'll then leave them alone. And unfortunately, it's a little bit too light to pop the infrared on. Maybe a bit later. But there are two of them, and I suspect that there are two females. Just moving through the lovely thicket. And they'll carry on. She's actually got quite a short mane for a giraffe. Normally it's a little bit longer than that. Perhaps she just doesn't have the luscious locks. But there is another one just to the right of her. Oh no, now she's changed direction again. Giraffe. They're not happy. You can see they're moving off quite quickly. So we will let that lovely lady go. And this one is now moving further and further away into the thicket. Now, of course, giraffe have got fantastic camouflage too. Most of the animals out here have camouflage in some sort of way. But I think that with the white that they've got on their bodies, they stand out quite easily. You can see that very, very clearly as they move through there. The brown and the tan colors blend in nicely, but those ears stick out like an absolute sore thumb. Now, I don't know if it's because this girl has got relatively white ears. I actually don't know if I've ever noticed that before. Have you, Craig? How white and bright their ears are at the back. That's incredible. I don't know. Sometimes I think to myself, I'm not that observant. I need to concentrate a little bit more, but that's the ADD kicking in, of course. But that is beautiful. Hey, big girl? She seems to have settled down a little bit now. I'm not going to move the cars around, or Wendy around too much, because I think I'm just going to push them further and further into the bushes. But you can see she's eating, so she's definitely relaxed. Now, Machine Gun, you're wondering if there's ever been an albino giraffe recorded. And I'm not sure. I think I remember reading something in Tanzania, was it? Maybe James can assist me here. But I remember there was at one point, I don't know if it was albino or if it was just leucistic. I can't actually remember. This was quite a few years ago. But there was one roaming around somewhere outside of South Africa. Maybe James can do a bit of research, or perhaps he actually knows about it. This is quite a while ago that I remember reading this article, and it's in a filing cabinet back inside my head. So yes, there has been one. Like I said, whether it was leucistic or whether it was albino, I'm not too certain, but maybe James can help us. But our giraffe have now disappeared. And I know that Tingana has a knack for popping out in front of giraffe, but those guys didn't look like they were startled by a leopard at all. So we'll continue on our search for the other thing that has spots on it. Let's see. We're about to sort of pop out onto Inyala Road North. We're not too far away now from that junction. So that means that we're not very far away from Buffelshoek Dam at all. Kirst, was that where the hippos were mating that Byron had today? Was that Buffelshoek Dam? I did hear correctly. Oh, wonderful. That was very exciting. I haven't seen hippos mating in such a long time. So, very, very lucky Byron. And well, speaking of the very lucky Byron today, who has seen all the animals, let's jump back on board with him.
Well, let's hope our luck continues, Taylor. I am kind of in the area, not quite yet, but where you saw Tingana, but I'm just having a look around. Maybe he pops out a little bit further south of that drainage line. That's what I'm hoping and thinking, and is possibly going to cut straight through the property. My prediction, and again, it's never a good idea to predict anything in the bush, but I think that he's probably going to drive. I think he's going to walk through the central part of Djuma this evening, possibly go for a drink at the dam later tonight, and then move straight through towards Arathusa. That's what I think. I could be wrong. He could make a kill this evening. I'm trying to think, when last did we actually see Tingana with a kill? I can't remember. I really can't remember. So it would be wonderful for him to have a kill. Or, I mean, he might... Actually, maybe we should... I wonder, we're losing light now, unfortunately. There was no sign of that young male leopard near camp with the kill. We went and had a look around there, but there was no sign of him. So I think what happened was he probably moved off and went down to get a drink of water, and then possibly lay in the shade somewhere, because there was still some of the kill left. It was hoisted in the tree. But as you know, when it gets dark, we're not going to go and shine our spotlights on that leopard, because it is still a young leopard. So we don't want to draw too much attention to it. Speaking of spotlights, I think it's just about time. Oh dear, apparently the dam cam is down. That damn cam. It's hopefully going to be up soon. They are working on it, everyone. Oh dear. I wonder if we can spot a chameleon or two this evening before we finish. Chameleons, bush babies. We need to try find some bush babies tonight. Little Janet. That would be great. Is it Vonnie with a V or Bonnie with a B? Bonnie with a B. Sorry, Bonnie. You said you'd really like to see a chameleon. I'll try my best, Bonnie. Let's see if we can find one for you. And Taylor's also really good at spotting chameleons. She'll probably try too. I think it's her young eyes. It helps. It helps. My eyes are deteriorating slightly. I need to remember to bring my glasses. It might help a little bit. Yeah, I look very sophisticated with my glasses on. Maybe tomorrow I'll put the glasses on. Anyway, let's link to Young Eyes McCurdy and see what she finds.
We've just found a heron and it's made a kill. Byron, it's my young eyes. You're quite correct. I don't know what it's eating. It's a frog. Look at it. Is it a frog, Craig? Do you think it's a frog? Yes, it is. I can see two little legs at the back over there. Oh, delicious. Lucky for you, Heron. Now it is getting quite dark. The light is fading fairly quickly. Hopefully it will fade quick enough so that we can put the infrared on. But did you see that? It snatched that frog up just on the edge of the water. And again, the amphibians are also starting to get active now as the nighttime is about to arrive. And I love the way that they always sort of dip it in water to help it go down, I suppose, to go down their throats. But straight into one frog, and now it's looking for its next meal. I would love to know if anybody has ever sat, and I'm sure there are many people that have done their theses on herons, how many frogs and fish a heron can catch an entire day. I don't think I've ever heard a number before, but I think it would be quite spectacular to find out something like that. 16. Chris, is that just a random number? Or you give us an actual answer? Oh, so Kirsty's directing us. She says that they only catch between 16 frogs and fish every single day. I suspect it may be a little bit more, but that's quite a good guess. And I think that this heron has got a nice advantage now in the fading light. You can even still see its reflection. Let's see, it looks like it's going in for the kill again. Yes! Oh, and it missed it. Now, I'm sure it does that a lot more than it does when it catches something. But how cool was that? We got to see a kill. And we got to see a heron, because the one at Djuma Dam on Cheetah Plains flew away, was very rude. And in case you're wondering what species of heron this is, I think I failed to mention it. But it is a grey heron, just walking the edge of the bank there. And I'm sure it just goes round and round the entire day, looking for small crustaceans, looking for the frogs, even a snake I'm sure it will gobble up, and then of course any fish it would absolutely love. Now, Julian, you've said about 45 frogs a day. That's a good guess. I think that sounds a little bit better. But yeah, amazing. I'll have a look tonight and see. A couple of my friends have studied zoology, and some of the things they've had to do is, they've chosen to follow cattle egrets around. So I'll see if any of them decided to follow herons around. And of course, I'm sure that would be one of the questions, or one of the things they'd have to try and figure out is how much food they eat, how often they strike, how many times were they successful, how many times were they unsuccessful. A friend of mine has just done a thesis on fork-tailed drongos and about the same thing. So I'm pretty certain that someone out there would have done it on a heron, and I think that would be a very interesting paper to, of course, read. Now, we're quite lucky. We are able to spend a lot of time with these animals, but not quite as much time as I think we would like to. Now, the hippos are making a bit of a ripple in the water. What's going on? Maybe it's our mating friends that you saw earlier with Byron. I think that's what's happening. I can't see the big male anymore. I don't know where he's disappeared. He was sort of in between that hippo over there, and then the other two on the left. But how cool is that? Now look at all the scars on that hippo's back. Look at that. So that one looks like it's been in a bit of fight. But we have a question from Ali, who's wondering why hippo's ears are so small. Now, I don't think that hippo liked that comment very much. They're obviously a bit self-conscious about their ears, because as I started saying that, we got a death stare from the hippopotamus. And they don't need to be very big. They spend most of their time in the water. So hearing, I don't think, is their prominent sort of sense. Oh, I think we've got a bit of mating going on over there. There's the big boy. There's the big male. I wonder if he's getting a bit excited, and the female closest to us was not very happy about that. So it's just amazing how their ears, eyes, and their nostrils are all on the same plane, just so that they stick out of the water. So again, there's no need for them to have massive ears at all. They're not outside the water like the impala, like the kudu. And they constantly keep turning them. So I'm sure their hearing's all right, but I don't think it'll be sort of super like a kudu or like a wild dog. But how cool is this out here on this lovely afternoon? But we have seen many hippos today. Oh, come on, yes. Oh my goodness, it's a synchronized swimming hippo. What are you doing on your back? That is so cool. I think that's the first time I've ever just seen hippo feet before sticking out of the water. That was magnificent. Oh, these animals are incredible. Nature is just... Oh, is it... Nature just has the best sense of humor, doesn't it? They're always providing opportunities to laugh, and I always say it's impossible to be sad when you're surrounded by these animals. But hopefully they'll do a nice call for us, and they seem to be getting quite active now. Maybe we'll see, well, the big bull. Oh, hang on, the one on the right is opening its mouth. The synchronized swimming hippo. Thank you, I was just asking for that. Aren't you great? Oh, yes. Big smile. And that one looks like it has been to the dentist quite often. Now, that one to me looks like a female, which is actually quite interesting. It could also be a very young bull. It is hard to tell when they're in the water like this. But the fact that it was covered in scratches, it's quite interesting. Well, it's putting on a bit of a show. Normally you see bulls with scratches like that on their backs. And that's just, of course, from fighting, and those wounds heal fairly quickly. Again, that hipposudoric acid, the blood sweat, has got the sunscreen in it, and then, of course, a mild antiseptic. So don't worry about infections. These animals are resilient, and they can come back even though they look like they've been through a paper shredder. And I've seen some horrific scars and sort of torn up hippos before. And, well, they recover, which is always quite amazing. So very, very cool. But what I wanted to say was I really wanted to put a good effort in to try and find us a cat for this Friday afternoon. So I think we're going to leave these hippos, and I'd like to go back down in Yala Road now and continue our search for Tingana. Thank you, Heron. Thank you, hippopotamus. Have a lovely day. Behave. Right, let's reverse. And let's make sure we don't go into the dam, because that would be disaster. Craig doesn't even have his swimming costume on. We're almost there. Woo! Every now and then Wendy does her own thing, and it makes me nervous when she decides to do her own thing on a narrow dam wall. But we're going to go down in Yala Road South now, in Yala Road North and Yala Road South, hopefully find a leopard. Byron is searching for chameleons.
I am indeed. Taylor, good luck with that leopard search. I'm trying to see what else we can find, and maybe, who knows, a genet or a chameleon or anything. I'll look for bush babies too. Can't seem to find any at the moment. Scanning the trees very, very carefully here at the moment. And I wonder if that male leopard is still lying down in that drainage line somewhere. Who knows? It very possibly still is. But it is cooling down now, so might be an ideal time for him to start moving around. Oh dear. Our chameleon search is not going very well this evening. They must all be hiding, perhaps. Apparently James unplugged something in the tent and it's blown up, so there's no longer a tent for this afternoon. I'm not sure what's happened there. No, I'm just joking, it hasn't quite blown up, but there's a slight issue. It will get sorted out though, as they always do. Okay. Julian, a bushbaby is a small nocturnal primate. That is what a bushbaby is. Tiny little creature. Very, very cute. And I'll try to show you a picture quickly. Why don't I do that? While I wait for the chameleons to come out and dance for us. Hang on a second. Let me just find the bushbabies. Very cute little primates. Here we go. Oh, sorry, Seb. There we are. There, look at that. Tiny little bush babies. Now this is a lesser galago or bush baby. The other name is a galago. Big eyes for nocturnal vision. Big ears. They're able to listen out for insects, but they mainly feed on tree sap. So tree gum. But sometimes insects, reptiles, and even birds. The larger one, this is the thick-tailed bush baby, or the greater galago. Now that will feed on some birds, but the smaller one, the lesser bush baby, southern lesser bush baby. Let me just have a look. So I'm just going to turn the page quickly. But yeah, they say gum of trees, as I was saying, and then. But also insects, like I said, insects. That's why those big ears. Listen out for insects. Those big eyes to see them, and they'll feed on them. Beautiful little creatures. Cynthia, I think there are. I think summer, when there's a lot more insects around, you tend to see the bush babies getting active maybe a bit earlier to catch a lot of insects and get food. So I generally think it's summer is a bit easier to spot bush babies than it is in winter, from what I've seen. I don't know if the other guides agree with me. Come on, Seb, we've got to find a chameleon. I'm trying very hard, everyone, I promise. Sometimes what happens when you really look hard for something and you just don't find them. Oh, there's an owl. Oh, is it still there? Hang on, let's see if we move forward. I just sought the sword as you sought, Seb. Wait, there's a little owl that just flew in here. Oh no. I think it's going to be hard to find. Hang on, I'm going to drive around this side. Wait. Just stick with us. I'm going to see if I can find you this little owl. It looked like a little barred owlet. Come on. It would be wonderful to see. We've been looking for these little owls for quite some time, trying to show you one. Where are you hiding, little owl? It flew in here. Now they are so small, so to spot it is very, very difficult. Maybe from this angle, Seb. I need young eyes, clearly, yes. Thank you, Kirsten. Man. Where did it go? It just, yeah, I think it's so well hidden. It's very thick tree, this. And I think it's hiding right inside here somewhere. Hang on. No. I wonder if it maybe didn't even just fly straight through.
Yes, it was done that.
Just a little owl. As we caught it, it decided to fly off. Such a pity. Sorry, everyone. That's a bit disappointing.
Maybe,
Is it? No, is it not?
Take that knot from there.
Alright, I'm going to search her. I'm a bit disappointed now that owl disappeared quickly. Let's go to Taylor and see how her search for chameleons is doing.
Well, I don't know what I've got on the... There's something just in front of us. We'll see if we can... I think it's a Bushbaby. Yes, it is! Oh, boing! Did you see that? There was a little Bushbaby just around there. I just saw these little bright red eyes peering back at me. Let me go a bit forward. Maybe we get another view of it. Oh, that's so cool. Sorry, Byron, that you were so disappointed that you couldn't find your owls. That was a strange way to say the word owl. Oh, I can still see it. Let's see if we can get another view. But they are quite skittish. They're not always the easiest things to see. But let's see if we park here. Let's have a little scan and maybe we can... Oh, you know where it is, Craig? It's in there now. I don't know if you're going to be able to get a gap. There it is. Oh, it just went up a bit higher. Let's see if we can find... There it goes. We're just seeing its little silhouette bouncing between the leaves. I think it's going to... I think it went a bit to the left, if I'm not... Is that it? No, that's... I think that is a piece of tree. That is the trunk of the tree. Let's go this way. Now, what they will do is they obviously... Curse the Queen of Puns says that it's a bark baby. That was indeed a bark baby. Now the Bushbaby doesn't want to be spotted, so of course I think when they feel the pressure of the spotlight they do bound away. Some are a little bit more relaxed than others, but of course we're just left now with, well, trees that are moving. Let's see if we can get another view. Look, it doesn't seem to be the most relaxed one. That's cool. I haven't seen Bushbabies in ages. The last time I saw a Bushbaby was when Mom, no, it's gone, I think it's jumped away, was when Mom was moving her infants around, and I don't know if I'm ever going to have a better Bushbaby sighting, which is a little bit sad. But we did get to enjoy it for about 10 minutes, which was amazing. I don't think many people can say that they've sat for 10 minutes watching Mom move her little ones around. Let's see. Now, Naturable, you're wondering why are Bushbabies nocturnal? I suppose they're just created that way. If they were out during the day, I think they would be heavily predated by birds of prey, might find snakes and things going after them. You can indeed see Bushbabies out and moving around during the day. It's not particularly common, but if they are evading predators, you'll see them bouncing out of their thicket. I think it's just an opportunity for them to feed... What's that? No, nothing. I thought I saw something disappear around the bush, but it was just my imagination. So I think it's just a sort of way to avoid competition with feeding on insects predominantly. And then, of course, coming into the winter months, they do switch, particularly the lesser galagos. They will start eating the sap off of trees as well. So all the acacias, knob thorns in particular, have got nice sap to them, and there's of course many others too. So yeah, I think it's that. I don't actually know the exact reason. That's just my opinion. There might be something completely else, or there might be 10 other different possibilities as to why they are nocturnal. But you can clearly see that they are nocturnal, because I don't know if you've noticed, but even if you look at the bronze wing courses and the water thickneys and the spotted thickneys, they've all got massive eyes, and that's exactly what the Bushbabies have too. Much bigger eyes too, and I'm sure lots and lots of rods in there as well to absorb as much light as they can so that they can see the best at night. But yeah, that's nice. Very cool to see. Very quick, but at least we got to see one bounding about. Now, for a chameleon and for Tingana, those two just need to show up, and then we would have had a very, very successful sunset safari. But I think we've done all right today. Haven't had any cats just yet, but that could change. But the thick skins are playing their part today with the elephants, and then of course the hippos putting on a great show, and then the water monitor and the brief, very quick view of the giraffe. It's all been happening today. I'm just happy to have the return of the elephants. So that makes me excited for tomorrow's safari, because hopefully it will be my turn to see some elephants. I'm trying also, as we're driving around, to think like Tingana and trying to remember some of the routes that he has used. He's come from would go next. So I took Central as a gamble, because he does like to come through here and Teledam, but he also likes to go all the way down in Yala Road south. Oh, there's a francolin of some sort, a big squawk in the distance. Now, I'm not quite sure what Byron's got, but it sounds very interesting.
Alright, now, well done, Taylor, on the Bushbaby. That's awesome. I'm very jealous, but that is great. Now, I'm trying very hard for a chameleon, or anything for that matter. It seems like the nocturnal wildlife isn't on my side tonight. We had great sightings of a lot of other animals, but the nocturnal stuff seems to be hiding. I need to try and find another little owl. Ubambo girl, you'd like to know what is the most unexpected animal to see at night. Well, we've got, an unexpected animal, rare animals that we get out here would be the aardvark and pangolin, most likely. Those would be probably the two most unexpected animals to see at night. Not because just purely because they're so rare. They are nocturnal, but we don't see them very often, so it would be nice to see one of those, but those are very unexpected. And I don't know when last. I think there's only ever been one pangolin spotted on Safari Live, but no aardvark, so probably aardvark then. Still nothing, really. I cannot believe it. I'm checking all these guarri trees. The chameleons do tend to like them quite a bit. Oh dear me. Thank goodness we're not having a chameleon competition. Too soon to panic. Hey Seb? Yeah. It's too soon to panic. Oh, impala, yes! I'm just going to turn my lights off. Don't want to harm the impala eyes. A little group of them, and I'm almost certain that this group will start heading. Ooh, have I got one? Have I got one? They're going to start heading to quarantine. Have a look there in the middle. Seb, can you see where the spotlight is? Just look in there. I don't know, what is that? Up a little bit. They're straight there. What is that? Is that something there, or is it just a leaf? I think it's just a leaf, everyone. Yeah, it's absolutely nothing. Oh well. Don't worry, like I said, it's too soon to panic. Let's not worry ourselves just yet. Come on. Because Bonnie with a B from Australia really wants to see a chameleon, so I've got to try and find one for Bonnie with a B. Oh, civet! There we go, everyone. Hang on. There. Oh no, the civet. There it is. Straight through there. There it goes. There. Can you see through there? It's still there. There. Up there, to the right and up, to the right and back. There. Oh, there it goes. There's a civet, everyone.
Glimpse of it.
A glimpse of a civet. Wait, it's still there. Still just moving through there. Can you see it? There. Come on. There it is.
Yes.
A little bit to the left, I think. Yeah. A little bit to the left, I think, Seb. There. Oh, sorry. There it is. Oh, it's so difficult. You can actually see the face. It is looking at us. Yeah, let me see if I roll forward a little bit there. Hang on, everyone. Let me just go through here. Maybe through this gap. There, Seb, I think just through there. Through that little gap through there. To the right a little bit. Oh, no. Yeah, this grass is so long. You see, everyone, that's the difficulty of spotting these animals. We'll keep having a look here. But this grass is so long now. Oh, just a quick glimpse of a civet. Oh dear, oh wow. Okay, well the civet's gone, but Taylor's found something for you.
We have, and you've got to look very, very carefully in this tree, but you may see some spots moving around. And this time, it is not a giraffe. It is our young chief, Hosana, who was lying flat in the grass. And I honestly thought that he wasn't here. So for a moment, I got a bit of a fright. And because he leapt out of the grass, which gave me a heart attack, but he's fine. He's in his tree. We did give each other a little bit of a fright because I couldn't see him down here. He was underneath all the shrubs. But he's munching away, and he's taken bits of it, and he's stashed lots and lots of little sort of titbits, or whatever was left of that impala, up on the various branches for him to feed on. But how is that? Whew! In the last moments of the show, we've managed to find this beautiful leopard. He won't be here tomorrow morning, however, unless he decides to make himself another kill. Well, not if he decides to, if he is, of course, able to make a kill. But there's loads of impala just nearby. The Nyala are not too far away. But I hope that you have enjoyed another spectacular sunset safari. It's been marvelous. It's been wonderful. It's been every single type of word you can think of. But a big thank you to all of you, and of course a big thank you to the entire team. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow for the sunrise safari.